What's happening, sports fans? Christian Pedersen, Bodie DeSilva, Noah Laxina, Tommy Morris. We join you for another attempt at entertaining you with our very, very mediocre football takes, as I am already unprepared with no background there. Today we're going to talk about what we believe is Western League. Look, we're not going to take any credit or not credit for getting the league associations right. Cathedral, Saints, Madison, Point Loma, Lincoln, that is who is on the agenda. Bodie DeSilva is here with us on behalf of Scorebook Live. They are the official digital content provider for the CIF, but apparently they have now struck a deal with the Moon. Bodie, where are you reporting to us from?
Yeah, that's the next state we're trying to grab.
The lunar sports demographic is apparently one that Bodie DeSilva has decided is worth heading into, so he can be the sole man on the moon, planting his flag of content and ranking the top 10 sophomore pitchers who are left-handed and names start with J on the moon.
For lack of not finding a better high school picture to put in the background, I'll be more prepared next time.
No, dude, it's wonderful. Noah Laxina is joining us on behalf of every college student that just finished finals this week and is now chilling in summer mode. Noah Lax, what are you munching on there?
I got some oatmeal. For the morning.
Okay.
Right, throw some peanut butter in there.
I'll throw some peanut butter in there.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up, Tommy, because I have long wondered what is and is not like the normal procedure for oatmeal. Because to me, oatmeal is always, you got to add some fruit, you got to add some brown sugar. I don't just ever eat the oatmeal plain. That's kind of savage. Your guys' thoughts?
I eat a really weird version of oatmeal.
Okay.
I go with. So what I do is I go with those packets, the pre-made packets.
Yeah, I have two pre-made packets.
No. Here's the move right here. You get a brown. Sorry, I had to grab some Gatorade because I just went for a run, not to brag.
I was gonna say, do you put some Gatorade in it? Because
No. You get the pre-made packets, the flavored ones. Then you also buy the original ones with no flavor, and you put one packet of the flavored one and one packet of the no flavor, and you mix them up, and then you make it because they're too sugary for me. But that way, it kind of dumps down the sugar a little bit, so it's like a less sugary version of oatmeal. So that's my move.
And then you put peanut butter in it.
Yeah, and also I do a really gross thing too. Is I'll put it in a bowl and then I'll put the water in just so that there's barely enough water so that all the little like oats are touching water, and then I put it in the microwave so it comes out almost like a cookie because there's no more water left.
I know what you mean. I've done that before. It's not bad. It's not bad. Hey, those are good little oatmeal tips. I'm going to have to put that in my bag. Thank you.
Fair enough. Tommy, the level of specificity with which you live your life is fascinating. You know things to such.
This is also G2, less sugar. See?
Bodie DeSilva, I thought you would have had more opinions on oatmeal. You seem like that kind of boring type of white guy.
No, I mean, I like oatmeal. Put some fruit, nuts. Not too crazy.
Deal. Fair enough. Guys, let's make our way into our first team. We got Cathedral Catholic, Roll Dawns. They are, as always, looking like they've got a heavily loaded schedule, which gives them all sorts of credit for strength of schedule, and wins and losses kind of matter more and less on the same scale. I'm assuming that any playoff context we're talking about here is open division playoff context. I'm assuming we're talking about them potentially having a shot at being the number one team because they'll get a chance to play Helix this year. All sorts of interesting layers there. Bodie DeSilva from Scorebook Live, you want to take this one first for us?
Yeah, sure. It's a team that I think will still be really good now. I don't think they're in the Helix and Oceanside category to begin with. You lose your quarterback in DJ Ralph, your top running back, Xavier Watson. But they have guys that have experience. Charlie Meyer stepped in at the end of last year at quarterback. Christian Hall and Lucky Sutton are good running backs that have seen some time. Their leading returner at receiver, Coleman Smith, was really productive last year. And defensively, they return guys at every level. So I think they can be really good. I'll say maybe 8-2 if we play a 10-game regular season, and a team that I definitely expect to compete to be in the open playoffs.
Well, hold on. Let me hit the pause button for a second. Bodie, you bring up an interesting discussion that we probably should have gotten to before we got our first teaser of a team there, but we'll do that as a little tease. That's the kind of analysis you'll get for the rest of the show. But let's talk about the seasons and just go around the room real quick. And I mean, are we all in agreement that first thing to go is state playoffs, and we're all cool with that? It's like, pushing everything back, canceling state. Yes.
So
no?
my optimistic view on all this, given what we're going with here, I think there's a 50% chance we start on time and everything's normal. 50% chance scrap state playoffs, start 2 weeks late. That's my best estimate right now.
That seems fair to me.
Yeah, I mean, every so often, different things come up, and as soon as more data comes out and more people start speaking out about what we're going to do, then that's what's going to happen. But I feel like I agree with Tommy. I feel like not too much is going to change as far as when the season is going to start, and hopefully, we're all back at it and enjoying Friday night lights.
Okay, so Noah Laxina and Tommy Morris both had coaching experience this season. Tommy, you've been doing it for 3 years now, 2 years, 4 years,
3.5.
Okay, so again, the level of specificity you live your life with is amazing. But you guys have both coached at the lower levels, the freshman and JV. And to me, that's where the difference really is. Most guys who are playing on a varsity here, okay, they can deal with some changes in routine and schedule, and they already know tackling. You're not educating football to a lot of them.
Well, I will say this. No, we're going to get to Lincoln eventually, and that's a team that has a lot of transfers. And it is hard to learn a new offense without having that summer workout, kind of period. So huge disadvantage for teams like that.
My question, though, is that for the freshman and JV levels, are you guys worried about later starts impacting kids coming out to play for the first time? Do you think we'll see a wave of freshman teams just disappear this year and not even happen? What are your thoughts?
My initial thoughts are probably less freshmen playing for a different reason than you think. I think it's just because without having a normal summer workout thing, like they don't really – a lot of them don't know you're supposed to sign up for football before the school starts, because usually you start football August 1, and school doesn't start till late August, early September. So a lot of kids show up the first day of school thinking that's when they sign up, and they're too late. So I think without having the summer workouts where some of the kids know they're supposed to be there and they tell their friends, you're gonna see less freshmen come out, and it's not a safety issue. It's more just they don't know because they haven't gone through it, and they're not gonna have their friends starting earlier to kind of tell them, like, hey, by the way, you're supposed to be starting football now. So I think, you'll probably see a little bit. I wouldn't be too worried about them learning the game because, like I said, usually they're going to come back August 1. I think we're either going to start August 1 or start a couple weeks late, and then the season going to start late. So they're going to have the same amount of preseason practices, so I wouldn't worry about that. But, yeah, there might be less kids who know they're supposed to show up in August.
Yeah, I agree. I think another thing, too, is just said with this COVID-19, I feel like there's a possibility that a lot of freshman kids that their parents probably don't want them to come out for football, and this is a time where a lot of freshmen they first fall in love with the game their freshman year. They're growing up not playing a lot of sports or they're playing different sports, and then freshman year is where they want to try out football. And that's where they fall in love with the game. We've seen a lot of players that didn't pick it up till their freshman year and they end up being great at the varsity level. And I feel like because of this situation, that might take away from that, because when they go back to school, if they have to go back online or whatever, and then there's football practice, their parents could decide, hey, maybe this year is probably not a year that we want you to start. And I feel like that could probably stunt the growth of the game from the freshman level down to the up to the varsity.
So we'll put it on the poll at SD Prep Insider. Do you think freshman football numbers will be down this season? Yes, no, and no freshman football at all. Let's get back to Cathedral Catholic. Tommy, did we filibuster long enough for your internet to start working again?
It did. I had to switch servers, but it worked.
All right, Cathedral Catholic. Tommy, go.
No, I was going to say Christian Hall probably going to be the best running back coming back. I'm not 100% sure who's going to play quarterback at Cathedral. I know you kind of assumed the young guy from last year is going to be the incumbent, but I think they have a kid who, if I'm not mistaken, was a freshman last year who's looked pretty impressive from what I've seen in workout videos. So I don't know how much that translates, but it is what it is. So there will be someone talented back there, and honestly, the majority of their job is going to turn around and hand to Christian Hall. Always going to have a good line at Cathedral. You're always going to have a deep team, so they're always going to be the perennial favorite. They're out. This is where it gets interesting too, because we're talking about starting on time and stuff like that. they start off with a team from Vegas, and my gut instinct is the Nevada schools are going to start on time no matter what. So we'll see what happens with that game. Then they've got Centennial, Del Monte Ranch, and they play De La Salle as well after they play Helix. So they've got 4 out-of-section games, all against really, really good powerhouse teams from out of section, and who knows what's going to happen with those games. So of all the schools that we're going to talk about, they're the most probably in flux right now with this whole situation, because it's going to be a section-by-section deal, I think, with when they start, and they're kind of at the mercy of Southern Section, and I think De La Salle is I forget which Northern California section they're in, but it depends. They might get stuck having a couple extra bye weeks, so we'll see what happens with that. I kind of agree with Bodie here. I honestly think someone in league will get them, so I think they're going to win. They'll lose one game in league. I'm not going to call who it's going to be, but it'll happen once. But this is going to be one of the best teams in the county.
Noah Laxina.
Yeah, I think with Cathedral, we've always looked at Cathedral, especially in the past few years, as basically like an ambassador for San Diego football, going out and playing against schools from other cities, schools from other states, and this year I feel like they're going to represent us well again if we do have those games. The good thing about Cathedral is those young guys get to learn behind the guys that they lose to graduation. So even though they're losing guys to graduation, they still had that year to learn from them, get their experience, and learn what it's like to be, a Don football player. And I think they're going to do a good job of reloading. They're going to fix that quarterback problem, but being in that wing T offense, they're just going to use their athletes and, find a way to just scheme around other teams. And I think it's really cool how we have one of the best schools in the county year in and year out be a wing T team. And I think they're going to do really great this year. In league, I do see the league being closer than it usually is. A lot of close games this year, playing some tough opponents. Lincoln, don't watch out for Madison too. There could always be a team where on their best day they can beat anybody as well. But I see a lot of good things happening from Cathedral this year. Like it's going to be like clockwork. It's routine. It's what they do.
The next team we will talk about is Point Loma. The Pointers. Noah, they're going to play your Olympian Eagles at some point this season. It looks like week 5. They have kind of an interesting non-league schedule because Mission Bay, Patrick Henry, Ramona, Vista, Olympian. I think you could make an argument that that's something that they could go 5-0 and 0-5 because all 5 of those teams they're tough plays, but they're winnable games. But they're tough. Like this could be a very interesting. Do they pick up a ton of momentum early in the season and come into league and snake 1 or 2, make a real storyline out of this, or will this be a tough year as they rebuild and look toward a new identity? Bodie De Silva, we'll start with you.
Yeah, for Point Loma, I agree with what you said in the non-league there. I think it really could go either way. I'll ultimately go with it. They split them. Maybe it's 3-2, 2-3. Last year was tough for them getting consistency. You look back and they played El Camino really tough, who obviously ended up winning a section title. They played Saints really tough. But then when they played Lincoln, Madison, Cathedral, it was all big blowouts. So I think that's part of the learning process. I know they didn't have too many seniors last year. There were some key players there. But Tyson Bryant's a guy who was a freshman last year. I think he, over the next few years, is going to be one of the bigger names in San Diego, a really talented two-way guy. So I think as they learn more and get more consistency, they'll improve. Granted, this is not the right league for them to go and start winning a ton of games in. But I think if they can maybe go 3-2 outside of league, I think they can grab a win within league this year and get to 4, maybe 5 wins overall.
Tommy Morris.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a similar situation that they had last year, just a tough league. I don't want to say they're going to be – they seemed outmatched in this league last year, and I think probably similar things going to happen this year. I don't – it's just an unfortunate situation where they're just stuck in there. They can't go to to City League or anything like that or Eastern League. So I meant to say Eastern League, sorry. I don't think they're going to win a game in league this year. This is not meant to be a negative thing, but it's just a really tough league, and I think they're just just a slight step below all these other schools. So it's going to be a struggle. But out of league, I think they'll do fine. Playoffs, I think they'll do fine. But in league, it's going to be slow.
Noah Laxina.
Yeah, I think part of the reason for the schedule this year, I think those are definitely winnable games. I think no disrespect to those teams in the non-league schedule, but I think those are definitely momentum builders for them. I think when you go to league, like Tom said, even though they're a little bit outmatched and they might not win a league game, they're still going to have that confidence from the games before and the non-league games to make some noise in the playoffs. So, Point Loma, they have a great coaching staff over there. They have a great program over there. They know how to get everybody to buy in. I think they're going to win probably at least three or four of those first non-league games. And I think that's good. That momentum alone, regardless of how they do in league, they're going to look back at those games and say, hey, we can still get back to this. We're going against the top teams in the county right now. We can still get back to this come playoff time. And I think they will.
Next up, sorry, I apologize. EMAP indeed. Noah Laxina. I'm surprised Noah knows.
One fact, I thought that was like a secret. I thought like that was a secret thing that no one was supposed to know. And then I asked somebody and they told me. I thought I like knew this big secret. I didn't realize it was like a public thing.
Next up, we got the Lincoln Hornets. Now, this is a basically not a brand new team. There's returning pieces, but there's also a lot of new faces. It's hard to doing the high school version of this where guys don't have they played 6 years for this team and then they're being a free agent and they're transferring. Like, you don't have a ton of ability to project out how a kid's going to do when he lands at a new school and a new system and a new whatever. We fully admit that we don't have a crystal ball on this kind of stuff. So some of this does end up being conjecture. We don't apologize for that. There's a new look this year. They are a returning CIF finalist. They were state champions and CIF champions the year before that. There's been a lot of success around Lincoln. There's a lot of hype around Lincoln. Is this year the highest the expectations have ever been? How high what is the ceiling for this team? Help me figure this out, Noah Laxina.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely are a team that you look at around the county now, and you have a little bit bigger of a spotlight on them due to their success in the last few seasons. I think Cathedral is going to be the big test in this league. I think with all the new faces, with all the talent that they have, they should be able to put it together for most of the league. But seeing how they play that Cathedral game, that's going to be probably the beginning of really recognizing Lincoln as a top 4 or 5 school in the county now, and that would earn their respect. I think if they were able to go up to Big Bro and Cathedral and just take care of business, and they're definitely going to have the guys to do that. They're always going to be stout on defense, and depending on what direction they go with their offense, they're going to have a lot of weapons, but I think they're going to utilize them. And I think it's like there's a throne, and it looks like Lincoln really has their eyes on it, and they really want it bad. They're going to want to take it, so it's going to be exciting to see how this season plays out for them.
If they need a throne, I know actually where they can quite literally get one in San Diego. It resides at Jurian Dixon's house. No, not a single person picked up on that. All right, someone will listen back to it and get that joke. Tommy Morris, you were the other Jurian Dixon truther on this team. So what do you say you take the next shot at Lincoln, please?
Yes. So I'm going to make a hot take here. I think this is a team that will do really well, obviously. I think Sammy Cooper IV is a very, very, very good quarterback, probably the best in his class. Was a freshman last year, got some reps on varsity. I know technically there's going to be a quarterback competition coming in this year. I think that if they are going to go with the better player, it'll be Sammy. I know there's going to be a senior that is coming in this year from last year who was a junior who probably thinks that they're the incumbent, but I think Sammy Cooper should be the starting quarterback. Neely, fantastic running back, will be one of the better ones in the county. They've got weapons. They got a bunch of transfers coming in. You get a lineman from Madison who's going to be a stud. So this is a team that can challenge Cathedral to be the best in this league. Like I said at the top, it is going to be really hard to do this if they do not get the full summer reps and all that kind of stuff. Fortunately, they'll be able to do Zoom meetings and stuff like that. So teaching the offense may be possible. I know it's way harder for these kids to learn via this way. I do feel bad for all the high school kids, by the way. I mean, this is not a knock on you guys. I would have trouble with it too. So hopefully they're able to all be, knowledgeable what the offense is supposed to look like and be ready to go. So I think Lincoln's going to be very, very good this year. And again, I'll say his name again, Samuel Cooper IV. You're going to hear that a million times over the next 3 years.
Bodie DeSilva from Scorebook Live, your take on the potential 2020 season for the Lincoln Hornets.
Yeah, adding on to what Tommy said, the quarterback battle is really interesting to me. They returned 3 of the 4 guys that they used at quarterback. Granted, Tyler Jensen took the majority of the snaps, but Samuel Cooper played a lot as the season went on. He's more of kind of a dual threat, running threat, and with them losing a bunch of receivers, granted they bring in 2 transfers, Jaleel Tucker from Saints and Jashawn Williams from Rancho Bernardo. But I think running-wise that ultimately they may go with Cooper because Kenneth Stevenson's in the backfield, Wes Neely comes over from Steel Canyon, Jaheim Williams from Montgomery. So they definitely are explosive on offense and have a ton of weapons there. We'll see if they can put it all together. But I don't know if this team's more talented than last year, but I think the expectations will be higher than last year's. They ultimately try and make an open division run.
Well, that was going to be the question I was going to close with: is are we all talking open division or Division One for their
Open.
Another team that has been in that open division conversation, out of it, is somewhat a sleeper sometimes in this league. Madison, the Warhawks. What is the 2020 season potentially going to look like for them? Tommy Morris, we'll start with you.
I think they're going to struggle a little bit this season in league. It's a good team, but they always struggle with numbers because it is a smaller school compared to these other ones. So I think this is going to be a heavy favorite in Division One, not an open division team, but a very good team and will probably win a couple games in league.
Noah Laxina, we'll talk to you next.
Yeah, I feel like Madison, they're going to finish, I want to say, 4th or 3rd in this league. I think they're still a team that's really respected. I think they're still a team that everyone circles on their schedule, and they think, hey, we have to bring our absolute 100% best against them because that's what they've earned because of the great program that they run over there. No Keontae Springs, but, you know, they need to find somebody to fill that hole with and provide all that offense for them. But their Coach Jackson's going to find a guy, and they're going to build their offense around them. And I think their athletes are going to run wild, and they're always going to find a way to stay relevant and with the highest competitors in San Diego. So if they do find a way to, you know, turn around and surprise a lot of people, it's not going to be really a surprise to me because they're just a great program that's really respected around the county.
Bodie DeSilva from Scorebook Live, your take on the
Jalen Thomas is the kid who's going to have to run the ball, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah, like Tommy and Noah have kind of said it. I don't think this is a team that's competing at the top of this league, but I don't think that finishing 3rd is impossible either. It's a tough league as we've gone over, and when you lose Keontae to graduation and Herman Smith heads to Lincoln, it's just tough to lose your kind of best athletes that way. But they always have guys. They'll bring in guys that are ready to step up, and Coach Jackson always does a great job. So I could see 3rd, I could see 5th, anywhere in between.
So to me, they have favorable home games with Morris at home, Saints at home, Mira Mesa at home late in the season. And that tends to sometimes just be all that it takes in football, is to be at home, you know, in your friendly territory, and you get a win. So I will not count this Madison team out because of that. I really like the prospects of like a 6-4 season, but then like very sneaky good in the Division One playoffs. Let's close it out with St. Augustine. I get one step closer to saying that right every single time I try to say it. St.
Just like the wind.
What are we looking at here for Saints? This is, it's going to be weird. No Tyson McWilliams, just in terms of, familiar faces are graduating after long varsity stints. There's a little bit of the youth from a couple years ago is now the senior class. What are we going to see from the Saints team? Could this be the best Saints team that we have seen in a while? Are they a potential open division champion? Noah Laxina, let's start with Bodie DeSilva. We'll start with you while Noah wanders through his garage.
I'll be interested. Offensively, they lose kind of their best weapons there. We talked Jaleel Tucker left, and Tyson McWilliams graduated, and Byron Cardwell left, and Richard Colmenero steps in at quarterback. Saw some time last year. Now he's the guy. I'm sure they'll find enough athletes to put around him. Offensive line, I'm curious who kind of steps up there. I think the biggest question for me with this team is the secondary. They were so productive last year. You lose Evan Givens, Sam Scaife, Tyson McWilliams, Jaleel Tucker. So finding guys that you just can trust back in that secondary, I think, is the biggest thing. But I would kind of have them at third in this league if I had to project it, but I don't think it's impossible for them to take down Lincoln and finish second. I think they'd definitely be the underdog to Cathedral, but we know that rivalry doesn't mean that they can't beat them, and what they'll get them at home. So,
Tommy Morris.
Yeah, I'm with you here, Bodie. Losing Byron Cardwell is a huge deal. I mean, this is a dude who's probably the best, will arguably be the best player in the county, and you don't have him anymore. And it's a guy that you could have turned around and handed the ball 25 times a game, and that could have been your offense on its own. So, I mean, it's cool that, they did well last year. I just don't think that they're going to be able to make up with their loss. I view them to be probably on the same level as Madison. This is probably a 2-win team in league, but it's just really hard with all these kids leaving. So it's not their fault, but they'll be fine in a couple of years. But this is going to be one of those years where they kind of take a little downturn.
Noah Laxina. Bodie Silva, go.
Sorry, one guy I forgot to mention, Grayson Halton. Defensively, he can be one of the best in the county. He'll only be a junior, but was so disruptive last year. Offers from all around the country already. So I just want to get his name in there. There's one of the guys that was thought about leaving, but he's still there and expect him to have a huge year.
Noah Laxina.
I look at Saints as one of those teams that's always able to reload and find new guys, and there's definitely going to be some players from Saints that, there might not be a San Diego household name right now, but you're going to see them all over the highlight shows, and we're going to be recognizing those guys as, okay, these are Saints' top players now. These are the new Saintsmen that are just going to dominate and carry on the tradition because, they're going to have a great coaching staff. That coaching staff prepares really well. That defense is always going to be something that you could count on for St. Augustine. With the Holy Bowl, you never know what's going to happen. They could pull off an upset. Anything could happen with that. So that's why I don't count them out as league champs because, if you get hot at the right time, you have that tradition, you have that spirit, you have that want. And regardless of who the players are, they're still going to believe that they're, St. Augustine. That name alone carries a lot of weight here around the county. And when you have that pride and you have that, and you carry on that tradition, that plus the new guys who are hungry, they want their spotlight. They want to prove that, they're just as good as the Saints teams before them. Those guys are going to have to step up. But I think with the Holy Bowl being what it is, and like anyone could win that game, and then that alone, and having that leading up to that, they could win every game in league. It's just going to be up to them on how those new guys want to step up. But I definitely wouldn't count them out yet. I would want to see it play out because they do such a great job at reloading. They do such a great job from a preparation standpoint, and they're one of the most prepared teams in the county week in and week out. So I just want to see what they do on the field first.
I'm curious in all of this discussion, do we think that there's a potential in this league? And I don't want to ask this in the wrong way but I want to ask it. Is there going to be a difference in the quality of this football season between Cathedral, Saints, and the rest of this league simply because of public-private and facility access? And I mean, are we looking at something like that could be a part of this season? No, Tommy, you're saying no?
No, I mean, Lincoln's a public school, and they'll be fine. Trust me. I'm not worried about schools. Schools who have athletes like this, these guys have aspirations beyond high school, and they're not going to mess around. These kids are committed, and they want to play in college. So I don't think you're going to have an issue with kids not being able to work out or not, finding a spot to do it or not wanting to do it. You're not going to have an issue with schools and any of these kids. These kids are grinders.
Anybody disagree on that, or you guys all kind of agree with Tommy?
I agree. I think there's also another element to it with the parents and how they feel. If they feel like their child is being safe in those workouts, or obviously they care about their kids' dream, but there's a whole other thing that we've never seen before.
Lose everybody? Well, if we lost everybody, I will go ahead and do the outro to the show and say thank you so much for watching. And we'll talk to you guys later.